Hey YouTube, Lester Croner's Trolling Bones coming at you. Just finished doing an interview with a fellow who works for Fantasy Flight Games as a freelance writer. He worked on their newest content that they've released, the Fantastic Omens of War. I can't wait to get my hands on it. But I'm kind of sleep deprived again. Started working on a night crew, so a little stiff, a little sleep deprived because I had to stay up so I could help Jesse with his interview idea. He set it all up, and I just kind of added random ramblings and babblings. But what I wanted to talk to you guys about today, kind of gauge your feedback, is what I like to call role reversal. Now, to start with, role reversal, or the idea, originally came from thinking and researching more so than just thinking the instances back in the 80s that led to lawsuits against Gary Gygax and TSR as a whole. But a lot of those, I guess, were claimed to have been kids who got too deep down the rabbit hole. They became too engrossed in their characters. Now, this is a slippery slope because, on one hand, I really, really, really like when people are open and engaging and trying to bring their character to life as best as they can. This is something that has its ups and downs, though, because I think it can be dangerous, especially for people who have overactive imaginations, younger people who don't really have a grasp on social structure, or I really don't know how to put it, but some people are susceptible to falling, I can't say victim, because that's in some way implying that role-playing games are harmful in some way, which they're not. In actually, the contrary is true. But it's just really dangerous, in my opinion, to get too engrossed in your character. Now, I as a game master keep my eye open for this, and I've been lucky enough to not actually have too many players over my career as a game master and narrator and player. I haven't really had to worry too much because every player I've played with, for the most part, has been able to draw a clear distinction between their self and their characters. I tend to encourage that my players don't refer to their character as I, unless, of course, it is in-game first-person conversation that they're having. If they are saying, even if they are third-person describing what they do, I go over to the tree and whittle a branch. I don't really encourage that with my players, just because of the potentiality for people getting too involved in their characters. That can cause problems when characters die or something bad happens to the characters. If they're overly committed to this character or into this character and, almost grafting it onto their real personality, that can be harmful to them. It can be kind of shattering to lose a character. And I've gone through before, and I remember losing my first character. It was a rather funny instance, but it was a little bit heart-wrenching. But once again, I could clearly distinguish myself from my character. And I like to create characters so much that it just kind of tumbleweeded or whatever. It snowballed from there, where I really found joy in creating characters, which helped me become a better game master. It actually really encouraged me to become a game master, the idea of developing NPCs and kind of trying to make them living and breathing. But I think that you need to be very careful when distinguishing when connecting yourself and your ego, your id, to characters that you create. Now, they are part of you, but I encourage my players and other people to refer to their characters as their characters. So when you're having a talk about your characters, you don't say, well, I go do this, or my character, you say my character goes and does this, or I would like my character to grow. Okay, so in my case of a character that I really like, that I've been playing with Jesse online or remotely, I created a character whose name is Lucas Haas that I've discussed a little bit in other videos. But I like to describe when I'm talking about what Lucas Haas does as, well, Lucas Haas does this. Now, sometimes I find myself flip flopping between it, and I mean, I'm comfortable enough with my own sanity that I don't feel the need to really put too many checks and balances on that. I mean, it slips out every once in a while, but I do try to focus and concentrate on distinguishing vocally and in my, not just in my mind, but vocally, when I'm describing my characters as themselves, as their own ego and their own it, almost in a, I don't know how to put this, almost in a split personality kind of way, but not in, like, not a crazy split personality kind of way. In a, I'm going to put you over here in a compartment, and I'm here, and, you know, I encompass the whole compartment, but, or I encompass the whole box, but, you know, all these characters are in little compartments. Ooh, I might have a visitor. Hello. There she is. Oh, she's hiding behind my head. Anyway, before this gets too long, I do want to make this brief. I just want to say that I'm very curious to know what your guys' thoughts are on this subject, what I like to call role reversal, where people flip-flop themselves and really they get too into their character, if that makes any sense. Now, it's speculated, like I said, back in the 80s, that this led to several kids committing suicide and things along those lines, but I really think that that's over-exaggerated and blown out of proportion. But at the same time, I do like to make it a point that people clearly distinguish themselves from their characters. So Lucas Haas will stay in his compartment, and Lester Crow will say, "Peace, community.